introduction.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be with you in this Fireside chat at the Extreme Hangout in Baku. We decided to make this short video showing where I live. What you see behind me is the valley of El Rio de Aguas. This is the last oasis in Western Europe. Extraordinary. We live in a semi-arid zone. In this last 10 months, we've had 70 millimeters of rain. That's only 70 liters per square meter. It's nothing. And you can see behind me how the river is supporting the vegetation. It's very beautiful. I've lived here for 34 years. And we are completely off-grid. We have no connections to the outside world in terms of electricity, in terms of water. You know, we are free, which is brilliant. It's rather similar in my travels to Ecuador, into the Amazon jungles of Ecuador, that we are here in Western Europe, in this village, off-grid. So we're similar to many communities in the Amazon which are off-grid. And when we are off-grid, and like myself off-grid, and living here for such a long period of time, it's beginning to really to feel the nature, to feel how I personally am connected with the nature. I've watched the trees grow. I've watched the cycles of nature. And I understand that I am and we are a part of nature. And I think this is the most important thing. I think this is a paradigm shift which we humans need to understand, that we have the power to protect and look after nature, to realize that we are a part of nature. We are inside of nature. Nature is inside of us. This is important. This is important, including the flies you probably see on my face. So, over the years here, after the first 10 years here, shaman from Ecuador, from the Shuar nation, came here. Long story how that happens, and that is exactly what happened at about 2001, 2002. I built up a relationship with this shaman, in particular Herman. He invited me back to Herman Nantipia. He invited me back to Ecuador to stay with his family in his village to celebrate the annual ceremony of the Chonta palm. This is a palm tree which supplies many alimentations, foods, well-being for the Shuar nation. And that ceremony, it was an all-night ceremony where the history of the family gets sung all through the night and danced. So that was pretty incredible. Herman came back in subsequent years, and also other shaman from the Shuar tribe. And in 2012, I was asked by another shaman friend of mine from the Shuar if I could be of some assistance in challenging the exploitation of gold and copper being the main one, in the creation of a mega open pit mine in Shuar territory without the permission of the Shuar people. So I read over all the information, and E-Tech International, an international consultancy company, had been invited in by the government of Morona Santiago to assess what this would mean, this type of so-called development would mean. And it was clear this was a very dangerous situation. It was also clear that the communities surrounding, the 70 Shuar communities, were not aware of actually what was going to happen. So I spent 3 months in Ecuador. I spent more or less 2 months with my friend in the jungle, in the Shuar village. I have to say, we drank a lot of ayahuasca, and I was really using this plant medicine, this spiritual healing medicine, for how to get across to the indigenous people, the Shuar people, their villages, their people, their leaders, who were not aware, how to create awareness of the dangers to the primal elements of life: fire, the earth, the wind, and the water. So, cutting a long story relatively short, I came back here to where you see me now, and at that time I had a friend called Silvio, who was a website designer and brilliant on Photoshop, and we put together a resource site we called Protect Ecuador. That you can always access that, actually, protectecuador.org. Just recovering from a cold. Okay, so this was a resource site explaining what is open pit mining, what are the dangers, what happens, and also the situation concerning the Mirador mine in Ecuador. So that was a good starter. We circulated maps showing the damages which would be occurring. That was in 2012, 2013, 2014. In 2015, I took two leaders, Schwa leaders, to the United Nations in Geneva. We were accredited to the Human Rights Conference. Domingo Ancoas and Louis Ayou. We had a tremendous reception. We were very well received. We spoke with special rapporteurs, with ambassadors. We spent 5 days with one-to-one communications with serious people, let's put it that way, people the tops, as it were. Back in Ecuador, and also the special rapporteurs, it made it clear to Domingo and Louis that if they were to get into trouble, shall we say, by the Ecuadorian government, they were unable to assist if there was a problem. Okay, there was a problem. Domingo was in the jungle with a $50,000 award on his head for supposed terrorist activity. Anyhow, that passed by and the time went on. The mine continued. The mine is now still continuing. The dams which are created to hold back the toxic waste are actually dangerous. They are so dangerous that our chief engineer, Steve Emmerman, says they will definitely collapse. So here we have this situation where we need to come together in our love for nature, in our love for each other, in our desire to protect. And we have together a team of lawyers. Julio Prieto, in particular, has done absolutely extraordinary work in bringing this case to the National Assembly of Ecuador, to the Attorney General, and we now have a case pending with the Constitutional Court because the company, EXA, have said that the construction of these dams, which we know are unsafe, is the intellectual property of the mine. Now, we are disputing that, of course, because when you have a tailings dam which is holding back 400 million cubic meters of toxic waste, and it is in danger of collapse, the information on the structure of that dam does need to be in the public domain. So we have this case pending in the Constitutional Court of Ecuador, and we also have a case in the International Court on Human Rights in Costa Rica. That is pending. So we have two pending cases. And here's a point I want to bring in the interconnectedness of generations. Now I want to bring in the case of the Sariaku, who brought their case to the International Court on Human Rights, and Patricia will be speaking about that. She and her family and the Sariaku brought an intergenerational group of people to the International Court, and they won their case. And there is an excellent film called Children of the Jaguar, made by Patricia's brother and the Sariaku, showing why and how that all happened. The Schwa situation, we are in process. It's an ongoing process, and again, it's intergenerational. And I want to make sure that I bring a message of hope and the fact that we can live sustainable lives. It is possible. And it's about all of us understanding that every single one of us makes a difference. It doesn't matter what we do, we make a difference. When we stand for what we believe in and what we know is right, and we're prepared to speak out about what's right, That's when we make a difference, which brings us together in that formation of love and harmony. And the way that as peoples of the planet, and peoples of the planet who are part of nature, because we're all part of nature. You know, if there is no environment, if there's no nature, there's no humans. And this is the paradigm. When we have 60% of our world populations living in towns, is to bring this message that we are part of nature. And I can look and see when I post a beautiful picture on one of the social networks, we get massive amount of likes. When I post a kind of a factual but perhaps rather depressing point, there's not many likes. This is completely understandable because we are overloaded with the damages which are happening to our planet. And when we come together intergenerationally, I, for instance, at 76 years of age, I'm privileged to be called an anciano when I'm visiting the Schwa. That is a privilege, because I'm considered to have some knowledge, some sense of the past, which I can impart to the next generations. And this is the point. And then the younger generations have the ideas and the creativity. And this is what we must do, is to all of us go forwards with a sense of power and creativity, and that I am a soul being. And I move forwards with this. And this is very definitely the way forwards. So in this Fireside context, is to feel that love that we have for each other, that kindness, to open our hearts to this sense of kindness and caring to each other, and of course, and this is somehow not sometimes recognized, to understand that there's a resonance that we humans have with nature, to resonate with, to feel the beauty, not only to look at and say, isn't that beautiful, but to actually get that feeling like, wow, this is part of me. I am part of this. So I think that's what I would like to tell you. I would also like to tell you that within this area here, within this beautiful area where I live, we have our struggles. We have industrial agriculture, which has been diminishing the supply of water to this river to the extent that we are actually facing an ecocide. And here, within this situation, I'm working with the End Ecocide team in Spain and also internationally. And this is framed as an ecocide, and we are moving forwards. We are moving forwards because we come together. We know what's right, and we need leverage. And the thing about leverage is power of the people, and also lawyers who are prepared to support us and support us in the necessity to have nature. That's really how it is. We the people, we empower the leaders, the lawyers to work for us and to work with us. And perhaps this isn't fully understood. When we the people come forward, we can say, well, we don't like, but what we really need to do is to say, we demand the rights of nature. Okay, I think that's about it. I would like to finish up by saying thank you so much for having me in your space, and to finish up by reminding us all, including myself, of course, reminding us all that we all make a difference. So, thank you very much. Thank you.